Welcome to another video. This time I'm just going to be showing you something that I'm working on at the moment. As you can quite probably make out, this is the secondary control room used between the Mask of Mandragora and, I think, Robots of Death. I think that I might be wrong with the last episode it was seen in, but I'm basically, as a big project, I'm making this to the best of my ability, and I'm nearly done. Basically, so far, obviously I'm sorry about the wobbly camera, I've got all the walls done. They will be eventually reinforced with more card. The steps down are almost done. Unfortunately I've run out of glue, so I will need to get some more of that. The overhead light has been completed, and at the moment I'm working on the final central console, which will be hopefully done today. Well, I'm recording this on the 23rd of April, so if Doctor Who, this season opener, series opener, doesn't get in the way of that, hopefully I'll be done. I will of course update you when I've finished with this. Just an update to say, really, that once I finish this control room and once my birthday comes along, I will be using this control room, and I'm getting a 4th Doctor figure and a Sarah Jane figure, and I will be using this control room to make definitely a scene recreation. I'm already planning season 3 at the moment, so hopefully I'll be using this for that. Hello, back again. This is another section that I have finished of the secondary TARDIS control room. I have managed to complete the main bit of it, and that is this central console. Of course this one doesn't have any kind of fun up and down thing in the middle, but it is possibly more complicated to do than a normal console, and main reason for that is there's a lot of complicated bit in this bit, due to the way that the shape of it, and because of these open. Now I've designed it so that the front two can be opened. The front two are always open. The side two can open and close easily, like so, fairly easily, and that's just reinforced with a bit of card there. The back two are designed to pretty much be always closed, just so I don't, because the holes in there that they lock into, you can't see it on the camera, but there's a sort of a hole just there, and it's structural, so otherwise this thing would be really weak. I was originally going to make these sort of railings out of the paper printouts that I got. However, because paper is quite weak anyway, especially for something that thin that I'd be making it, I mean it's really only about this width, I decided to make them out of wooden skewers, you know, the disposable ones that I have a lot of, and they're not the exact shape, just because even super glued, these bends in here, because these are, each railing is 5 separate bits of wood, only super glued together. It would mean that if I had 2 more in there, which is what it should be, then it would be very, very unstable, and of course I want this to last, and I want to actually use it rather than just keep it as a model. That is stuck onto a very simple thing. I mean, it's actually more complicated than it looks, but this, and they're just put in there, and I used a screwdriver just to make holes in there, and it's just a bit of fairly stiff card. It does move up and down a bit, which is quite nice. This thing is nice. Of course the up and down thing isn't very good, but I can't do much about that. And that has taken me hours, I think. It took me a lot longer than I thought, mainly because this central console is very difficult just to fold and things. I mean, I've got big hands, which doesn't help. Very big hands. And I'm just thinking if you were trying to make that for a Dapple figure, it'd be even smaller. And anyway, my doctor can stand there quite nicely. Might need to prop him up against a wooden skewer. But he can stand there quite nicely, as he can on the opening steps. That's there. Yep, so this is the 3rd step. I will get round to putting a floor in just after this, but the walls have been properly reinforced, nice and flat and things. These are kitchen roll and toilet tubes here to give these pillows a much more rounded shape. They're not completely round, they do dig in, sort of like step in a bit. All walls have been reinforced just to, so of course with these, of course it's a bit of an odd shape, the angle, because of course it's a cylinder and then bits of card coming off it in straight lines rather than a sort of a 3D shape, so I had to make these sort of join on neatly so that it holds together nicely. This has been reinforced. Of course there's an indent in here, so that one's not as sturdy as this one is, because of course this is now a proper 3D shape. So finally, this is the finished control room. After about 3 days of doing this, I mean it was on and off, just due to waiting for things to dry and getting things printed off. This is done. I think, well, today I must have spent 5 hours, I think, maybe not that, 4 hours yesterday, so probably about 12 hours on this, half a day. It would be non-stop. Completing this. So basically I've now added a floor, which is literally 4 of the same printout, the wooden floor thing, which can be used in really any wooden floor. The light has now been added. It has the funny dotsy things underneath. Steps, well, nothing's stuck down, everything is a separate piece. It's just sort of neatly placed there. That's nicely propped up. this mat, it's basically a mat that's made, and it basically goes around the edge, like so. And these walls are movable and fairly, how do you put it, transportable and fold-awayable, if that's a word, which it isn't. Anyway, basically these can be folded away a little bit, so I'm not taking up virtually a whole table with this. Of course, this doctor I don't think has ever seen, this particular suited doctor has ever seen in this control room, but I've just got him in here to show you scale. Basically this has now been placed sort of neatly across, fairly in the middle. So has, oh, sorry, the light. Yeah, the outside light has now gone because although April, after 9 o'clock it is dark, and I'm using bedroom lighting, so yes. It isn't quite this yellow, I have to say. It is a bit, as obviously as you've seen in the other sort of little recordings, it is a bit more sort of bluier in a sense, but not much actually. Let me just go through with these. These are bits of dowel, I think I've said. These took a while to dry. I think they were even slightly wet when I last showed them to you. Even though they're super glued. They're super glued on the other side because of course I didn't really want to ruin the paper on the outside. In the middle here I have, this is actually on the paper. It isn't stuck in or anything, unlike these, which do virtually go to the bottom of this sort of half sort of cylinder thing. Yeah, and I'm very, very proud of this. Obviously, Action Figure Theatre, I wouldn't be showing this without them. He, she, I don't know how many people are part of Action Figure Theatre. But yes, and it's fully sort of playable in. You can sort of have a doctor climbing up there, sort of opening the panels. The back two, they are openable. You can open them, but I'm choosing not to, seeing as it's rather complicated to open them. It's only going to be front 4 which are open, and the front 2 will constantly open. I haven't made it possible to open and close those. So yes, the only downside to the way I have made this, unlike I think I saw one other somebody who'd made this and they'd taken photos of it, they'd adapted it so they'd printed off these sort of roundel walls and placed one of them behind this black rectangle. They'd cut out the black rectangle, so you were left with just bars, and then a black hole, a hole, and then it was though there was a corridor behind, which was very clever, and they made theirs so it was one big base, so it was all stuck together rather than, you know, compact and things like that. They'd also done the same with this and been more creative with the door, because of course they didn't actually give me a door. They gave you literally this wall and that wall, but none of this wall, so you had to sort of flip the image or invent something with it, and I just put a black rectangle there for a door. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this make. I'd say there's probably not going to be another one soon. No way, because this has taken me ages. Although quite fun, it does take absolutely forever. And your back hurts eventually, especially if you've got a low table. You will see this in Season 3, considerably, I think. And you'll see it in quite a lot of scene recreations, the ones that I can think of. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.